Hey guys, I am Big and Scary. I'm bringing you another StarCraft 2 replay, this time featuring VirtuosO. Virtuos. I'm going to go with Virtuos. In the top right corner playing our red Zerg, and in the bottom left we have TAmIEL, our blue Terran. Both players are in gold. We are on, I believe, Cloud Kingdom, one of the newer maps in the map pool this season, with the medium ramp leading down to the common ground, which is a pretty easy to take, natural, nice and wide choke, but it's the only way into it, so the natural is not super exposed. You also have some high ground right here that's unlandable, but there is a place you can position some overlords, and since this is a ZVT, maybe we will see that first overlord heading out from VirtuosO. I'm going to struggle with that name all day long. Virtuos. From Virtuos leading down to TAmIEL's main base. It looks like that first scouting SCV is out from TAmIEL, just to see what type of shenanigans are going on in Virtuos's home base. No early pool out of him, so no cheese from this guy. We do see that the 150 minerals has been taking up a second SCV heading out from TAmIEL, and he's got plenty of money to throw down that barracks, so I believe this will be some proxy cheese from TAmIEL. He's got extra money. That first SCV, yes, throws down that barracks. That makes sense. He had the money, he was sending up an extra SCV. I don't think the Overlord saw them both, and even if he did at gold level, I don't think Virtuos is practiced enough to see that sort of cheese coming. 2 racks pressure can be pretty intense, especially when they're positioned where they are. Unfortunately, TAmIEL threw them down in the one place that a probe has to go in order to get to TAmIEL's main base, so the drone, if it decides to scout, should go right past these barracks, and he should know that the pressure is coming. So it doesn't look like there's going to be a probe scout out of Virtuos, as he is grabbing that hatch first on such a small map. The spawning pool just now getting thrown down. No gas quite yet, but I expect there to be one shortly. That whole 15, 15, 15 is pretty common and usually pretty safe, unless there's some sort of 3 racks pressure going on. Harvester count is pretty neck and neck at the time with the early expansion of Virtuos. You'd think that that would be a little bit more in the favor of TAmIEL, but it looks like he's beginning to cut SCVs just as he gets that construction underway. And remember that 3 of those SCVs are not being used to mine minerals, but rather just to create structures so that he can get the Marines out of the way. And the first 2 are out, another 2 on the way. Spawning pool just now finishing. This hatchery is just moments away from finishing. An excellent cancel out of Virtuos. There was no way he was going to keep that with this pressure coming out. The SCV was there to build a bunker on the low ground just to punish that hatchery, and he wasn't going to get any of that money back unless he canceled it right there. Some people will let it finish, just hoping that they can get the SCVs, or the Zerglings, out fast enough to take out these Marines, or at least to hold them back so the spine can be built on the low ground with the creep there. But no, I think that was a good play for Virtuos. Bad play right here, losing 2 overlords to all of these Marines on the low ground. This guy had better move up to the high ground just right here so he can scout, see how many Marines are moving in. Quite a lot of them, though. 7 Marines pushing up into the main. It looks like he canceled some spines on the high ground, but with 2 of them finishing, he's not going to have an issue pushing back these Marines, especially with the small number of Zerglings out. He was supply blocked. Virtuos was supply blocked a couple of seconds, but now that the extra overlord has popped, he shouldn't have an issue getting out a plethora of Marines to hold this back. He's certainly got a lot of money since he canceled that hatchery again, which was a great play. But the Marine production continues. He's got 3 racks pumping out Marines, quite a lot of them, 9 of them already, but again, the 16 to 13 harvester count is a deficit for TAmIEL, and as this game progresses, he's really got to either double up on his SCV production, take and expand behind this aggression, or straight up and down kill Virtuos, because he's not in the worst shape in the world. He's got that gas up, he's got a good defensive infrastructure up. There's quite a lot of Zerglings out on the field, 14 of them, but oh man, 14 Marines already. This is going to be quite a big push, and remember that the static defenses that Virtuos has in place can't move, so when those Marines get up, if they succeed in taking out all the Zerglings, they can actually scoot down this lower level and work their way up to the gas and start hitting that probe line. And it looks like that's what Virtuos is afraid of, moving out with all of his Zerglings, he's got another Overlord on the low ground, has to be careful. That's going to supply block him again. Throwing down a Baneling Nest as well as an Evo Chamber. He's getting a little bit of gas. Baneling Nest is a great idea. Evo Chamber, that's a little bit too forward thinking, unless he's got it positioned in a place that would protect his spines. He does not. Another Spine coming up on the high ground. Speed just now finishing for Virtuous, which is another good play, getting that gas up and saturating it. Thinking for the long term, he was comfortable for a time being with the spines, but as this Marine ball, develops, it's basically a whole page right now. 24 Marines against the 16 Zerglings and 3 Spine Crawler nests. The Baneling Nest, when it finishes, will provide him with the key that he needs. Virtuous, I expect we're going to see some massive Baneling hits, or we're going to see everything crash and burn for Virtuous in just a couple of seconds. The Banelings are morphing in. 2 of them. We'll see the Micro Gold League is just so known for. All the Zerglings coming in. The Spines well within range, killing them all. The Banelings were canceled. Oh no. Drones being pulled just provide some extra defense. Wow, the numbers of Marines are quickly falling to 12. 25 drones out on the field. They got sent back to work, I guess, just to continue cranking them out. The Queen within range, not enough energy for a transfuse, but the Crawler's actually in for surprising good health. The Crawler's going to wrap this up with only 1 Marine on the field. Oops, 3 Marines on the field. But 25 to 12 drones, so the economy is totally in the favor for Virtuous. He needs to get a lot more Zerglings out. He's got 12 coming, and when those 12 finish, these 3 Marines, even though they're in the choke, aren't going to stand a chance against the swell of that size. Here they come, 2 Banelings being morphed in on the low ground, 3, and the level 3 weapons, or level 1 weapons, finishing for Virtuous. So he's going to have a quite a leg up on his opponent. Oh, here comes the Banelings. Another small group of Marines. The Zerglings drawing their fire. One Baneling makes it through. 1 goes down from some target fire, leaving the other 5 plenty of time to take down the remaining Marines. 4 of them again being constructed on the low ground, 4 at a time. Them just coming out. But the money for TAmIEL is completely spent. He's blowing through just as much money as he can possibly create, and with 10 more Zerglings on the way, I think Virtuous has won this game. He's definitely won some major victories, and with this hatchery going up on the low ground, he's actually going to be in some fantastic shape. 4 more Banelings being morphed in. Looks like some sacrificial Zerglings just to buy time for the rest of the Zerglings to come in and reinforce. All the Marines go down. The Queen getting transferred down. We have another one up in the main base. We do. Really good hold by Virtuous. 4 Marines on the ground. Can't wait for the other 4 to pop out. They have to push in and do something right now, but what they have to do is die, because they're completely surrounded by those Zerglings, and with the Queen providing artillery fire, they're going to be able to cover them up on another 4 swinging right in. But the Banelings are done. This natural is starting to get saturated. TAmIEL hasn't taken an expand on the back of it. Oh, 4 Banelings against 4 Marines. How cost effective is that? Not very. But the Spine's getting transferred down, and the saturation down at the natural is, getting completed. Oh, look at all that. Those Marines have been queued up, so maybe an extra SCV here or there, or maybe even an expansion could have kept TAmIEL in the game, but instead he's doubling down on that production, pulling his Marines back just to fire at those rocks instead of the Banelings. Sealed their fate. Quite a lot of Zerglings out on the field. Level 1 armor on the way for Virtuous. He's really got to hand it to him. He's staying on top of his long-term game, getting those upgrades out, getting the Baneling Nest out, not being afraid to get a lair, even though this pressure's continuing. A lot of people would push in and take out the infrastructure that's creating these Marines, but instead he's content with just holding back the aggression, taking his expand, saturating it, and just all around playing very calmly, not losing his head to this sort of aggression. That's very much not what you would expect from a gold player. This is more in line with a gold player, is the 4 Banelings not being supported by Zerglings, barely making their way to connect at all with the unupgraded Marines, but with no tech lab on those barracks, no combat shield out, those Marines die very, very quickly to those Banelings, and so many more have just gotten warped in. These Marines are living on borrowed time. A little bit of a standstill, but the standstill is definitely in Virtuous's favor. Those Spines are in a very defensible position, especially with all the Banelings supporting them, and these Marines really don't want to walk on creep with the Banelings there. And even though these Marines could sweep around to the south side, those banelings will be able to hunt them down on that creep very, very quickly and make them pay. Centrifugal hooks as well as level 2 attack coming up for Virtuous. So as time progresses, TAmIEL, yeah, he's getting a big bundle of Marines out right now, but he really hasn't done anything to his home base. He's just constantly producing Marines, and those Marines are going to die a terrible, terrible death. Huge swell of drones for Virtuous. He is feeling very at home right now with 10 drones popping out down to the natural. You can look at the supply, the income tab, 45 to 11. TAmIEL is in a lot of trouble. He's got to make something work right now. Massive baneling hit. Oh my goodness. Wow. Only one Marine left, and plenty of Zerglings on their way out. Infestor pit's just about to pop. If we see another bundle of Marines, I'm betting we're going to see a bunch of fungal growths, but I have a feeling that TAmIEL is going to tap out any second now, and if not, Virtuous is going to push out and actually deal a death blow to all those barracks. He's got quite a lot of Zerglings on the field, and pretty soon quite a lot of banelings to support them. Centrifugal hook's going to finish in just a couple of seconds. Is he taking a third? Oh my goodness, he is. Good on you, Virtuous. Good on you. Grabbing a third. He's got 4 gas up. He's got those infestors coming out. The Overlord speed was being constructed. Just a little bit of a misstep with those Zerglings going down on all those Marines, but with the centrifugal hooks done, all those Marines die very quickly from those banelings. Hive being built? Man, that's great. That is great. Not a lot of Zerglings out right now to deal with this added pressure, but with those spines and the banelings, no issue there. Doesn't really want to expose that third because the defensive structure there is and TAmIEL leaves the game. Oh my goodness. That's got to be frustrating for TAmIEL because you really just want Virtuous to push out and kind of engage in the choke in that situation. Maybe you could take out his entire army and then push in and deal with the spines, or maybe you just kill a bunch of the drones. But man, you got to expand on the back of your aggression if it fails. Kind of maybe even take a third. Otherwise, you dig your hole and you lie in it. Good hold, Virtuous. And let me know how I'm supposed to pronounce your name because I'm stumbling over it. Hey guys, that's it for me. If you have a comment, you can leave me a comment. If you have a game you want me to cast, you could PM me here or on Reddit. One way or another, I will see you guys later. I am Big and Scary. Bye.